Hello students, welcome to the first lecture of the third week where we'll be discussing the Linux, what is Linux. We will also show you what are the commands that you can use Linux for file handling, right? And also like how to install programs. Then in the later part we'll also discuss R. So Linux part we have divided into two parts. Part 1 we will be discussing now, and part 2 in the second part. So Linux is an operating system, and there are several operating systems which are available. Okay, so first of all, let's see what is an operating system. So basically it is a program, okay, that starts when you switch on your system, right? So you might be using a Android phone or a Windows PC, okay, or a Linux system if you are already using. Okay, so basically the program that start it is Linux. Okay, it is the operating system, and Linux is one of those operating systems that we will be discussing today. Okay, and basically operating system is the one that takes care of all the background activities like communicating with the hardware and proper utilization of the RAM and CPU, etc. of your system. Okay, so the first or you can say the one of the oldest operating system was Unix, which was developed in something like 1960s and basically evolved over a period of time. So it was developed by AT&T Bell Labs by Ken Thompson, and then like at that time it was the one of the most commonly used operating system. Okay, but okay, so basically Unix also had several flavors, and it also evolved over a period of time, but it was proprietary in many cases, although some free or common versions were also available like Minix. Okay, so then these operating systems gave rise to open source operating systems such as Linux. So for example, Unix, if you talk about, okay, there can be two categories, the open source and proprietary. For open source you can download and install and don't have to pay anything, any subscription cost or renew or per year cost or one time cost, nothing is there. But in case of proprietary you have to pay some cost to the company for using it. Okay, so and there are several like proprietary like Solaris, IRX, Mac OS. These are different flavors of Unix for which you pay some amount for purchasing them. Okay, but then this gave rise to Linux, which is an open source Unix like operating system, and it was developed in 1991 by Linus Torvalds. Okay, and initially it was named something else, but later on it was commonly known as Linux. Okay, so Unix is multitasking multi-user computer program. Okay, and Linux is derived from that, and basically this is also multitasking multi-user program. Okay, which offers a very good GUI these days, and there are several distributions like Debian, Fedora, Arch, Ubuntu, CentOS, Red Hat. Several of these are available for which which provide like different feel, look, and have different capabilities and different you can say robustness also. Okay, so and there is also a Linux based Android system which you use on smartphone these days, which is also important and evolving over a period of time. Okay, so basically Linux was developed in 1991 by Linus Benedict Torvalds, and so initially it was like Minix was one of the free OS based on Unix, right? Unix like a free OS which Linus used and developed into Linux, okay, which is what you commonly use today. Okay, so these are the different flavors of Linux. Flavors means that since it is derived from a open source code, so many groups or individuals who have good computational capabilities, right, they can use these source codes and develop their own flavor or a distribution that is stable, that is doing some particular task. Okay, generally they want to be comprehensive, but all of these have different capabilities, and sometimes you also tend to like something some of these flavors. Okay, and basically today Linux is used by billions of users worldwide. Okay, so now one comparison should be made between Linux and Windows. Okay, so I assume that most of you are using Windows or have used Windows, in your life, but Linux you may not have used so far. Okay, so Windows is a proprietary software. So when you purchase a new computer, you pay for the software also, and then you install Office. For that also you pay for the software. Okay, which is like some thousands of rupees. Okay, but whereas Linux, you can go to their website and the different flavors that I mentioned, and you can download any version that is suitable for your system. It could be 32-bit or 64-bit version. Okay, so it is open source, free of cost. Okay, whereas Windows is not free, and it is not about the money. Basically, Linux allows you to use your hardware resources more efficiently, okay, and based on your requirements. So you can always specify how many processors you want to use, what RAM you want to use. Okay, and you also have the flexibility of installing and developing programs, whereas Windows does not allow that much flexibility, and that is why it is less efficient, but it is very robust and stable system, good for your routine GUI based jobs like word processor or PowerPoint. Okay, although those capabilities are also very well developed now in Linux. So basically today you can use Linux with all the capabilities of Windows, and most of the software that are available for Windows, okay, are also available for Linux these days. Okay, and one of the important thing is less prone to virus, whereas Windows, we all have seen that antivirus programs, and it is very much virus prone. The file system is ext2 or ext3 in Linux, whereas in Windows is FAT32 or NTFS. So what does this mean is that these are the file partition systems, and how your hard disk is formatted. So basically it allows files of a certain size to be stored on the system, and you cannot use them interchangeably in Linux and Windows. Okay, and basically many flavors of Linux are available, whereas in Windows basically it is just the versions. You could be using 7 or 10, and basically like that, and basically all are provided by the same company, Microsoft, whereas Linux you may use Fedora or CentOS or Red Hat, and you can download from various such sources. Okay, and basically Linux is why we are discussing this is because Linux is very, very important for bioinformatics, because in bioinformatics you are expected to basically analyze the large scale biological data. You ask questions, use the data, and make your own program or use the available scripts or commands in Linux. Okay, you have files in which there could be certain formats that we have discussed in the last classes, and you may want to extract information from those formats, or do some processing of file from like one step, second step, third step, like that. So for which Windows you cannot use, but either Mac OS or Linux you can use. Okay, so basically Linux is very, very convenient for bioinformatics, and it allows running commands for data analysis. There are so many commands that we'll see today also that are very user friendly and make your task very easy. Okay, they are easy to handle, easy to write, even like manuals are available for your help. Okay, and these days like Linux also have very good GUI capabilities, so you can also do the same things that you do, like, so basically you will not be missing GUIs on Linux these days. Okay, and there are and you can handle databases like MySQL is built in Linux. Okay, and so you can you don't have to install a third party software for developing a database on Linux, and so many programs or pipelines are available in biology which you can directly install on Linux. And generally these kind of programs are developed by a scientific community which are academic in nature. So most of these are freeware also, which are published software, have decent number of citations you can download and use on Linux. Okay, and basically R, Perl, Python are some of the very, very important scripting languages that are associated with Linux, and they have developed with Linux. Okay, so Linux is a very good operating system, and basically it provides you bunch of software which are worth thousands of rupees in cost, and it is reliable, stable, and very powerful. Basically, so if you want to try, you can go ahead and install Linux. You don't even have to remove Windows. You can also make your PC dual bootable by using Linux. Okay, and it provides you all the complete environment for compilers, toolkits, developers, right? It uses your memory, RAM, and other software to the fullest, right? So many open source software you can download. Multitasking is possible. Networking is possible. You can connect to multiple machines and do the task by remotely. Okay, and more flexibility to allow more users to share your hardware. Right, so these things you will also see while we are discussing the commands in today in the next class. Okay, so for installing Linux, you can go to the website of Fedora or CentOS or Red Hat, and you can download the software and install. Okay, make a executable okay, and install it. Okay, or bootable drive and install it, or basically in this slide I am telling that even if you don't have a free machine for Linux, you can always make your Windows machine dual bootable, where you can boot that in both Linux and Windows mode. Okay, and by which you can basically use both the capabilities. Or there are also options that for example there is already a Linux machine that you are using, so you can create the complete image of that machine. Okay, so image means like there are directories, there are folders, there are data. Okay, so everything will be copied as an image, and you can use that in whichever system, another system that you are using VMware software, which can be downloaded from here. Okay, and similarly Cygwin and Putty and these kind of applications allows you to do a few things on your Windows system, right? Where you can run a few of the Linux command, and also allows you to connect to another Linux machine. Okay, so basically what I want to say is that either you can have a Linux machine to practice what we will be discussing today, or you can even use your current machine, okay, for practicing Linux by either making it dual bootable or having an image downloaded from VMware. Okay, so basically if you want to install Linux and Windows, at least you should have 20 GB of space. Download the image from VMware. Okay, download any of the flavor that you want. Okay, there's another website where you can download the image. Okay, uncompress it. Okay, and just import in VMware and start using it. So basically you need a VMware software and also an image. Okay, VMware software is available here. Okay, and the image you can download from here. So you can download image for any of the convenient Linux, right? I think for I would say that for the starters, I think Ubuntu could be a good option. Okay, and CentOS is more stable and but a little bulkier, but Ubuntu can be a good option, which also gives you a feel of like Mac OS. Okay, and then once you have installed, basically a GUI will appear, which will ask for username and password, which is like similar to Windows. You can enter create your username and password, and use that for using the Linux. And basically it comes packed with all the accessories, right, which are required like in Windows. Okay, it's a bunch of software are given to you, which you can use for either running a command line version or the GUI based version. Okay, and basically Linux also comes with a lot of tools and utilities, as I mentioned. Like there are several text editors which are available. We'll be looking at few of those in this class, right? It has inbuilt compilers for various kind of programming languages, right? Interpreters for the interpreted languages like Perl and Python. okay, and several of the basically the programs for the accessing the internet like Chrome, FileZilla, Firefox, Mozilla, okay, these are inbuilt, but you can also download these, and it is generally compatible with such programs. And basically like Chrome, Mozilla, Firefox also keep on updating along with the Linux updates, so that you don't face any issue of compatibility. Okay, so as I mentioned, Linux is very useful for bioinformaticians and for handling complex problems. And okay, so we will be discussing like the commands that you can use in Linux, right? And I have also prepared some screenshots which will help you to connect to when you install on your machine. You can practice this. Okay, so these are like some of the software which are available for using a Linux, like Linux, MySQL, both are free. It is integrated in this one. Okay, Perl and Python are inbuilt in Linux, but you can also download the programs for sequence similarity, okay, or alignment are also available for Linux, right? For phylogenetics and so many sequence analysis pipeline like Emboss, which we'll be also be discussing in I think third or fourth class from today. Okay, so basically Linux is now basically the favored OS for bioinformatics or computational genomics. Okay. So now Linux is organized into various directories, okay, and like some of those are listed here, okay, but you don't have to I don't want to like put too many technical details here, okay, but we will be focusing only on some of those. For example, there are directories such as bin/bin. So basically Linux starts with like this is the root, okay. So /bin is a folder that contains directory that contains the binaries, okay. So when you install the software, it is going to be installed here, okay. Then boot folder. So basically you can, while installing Linux also, you can specify how much space you want to dedicate to these kind of folders based on your requirement. For example, if it is very web intensive, you want to install websites and servers, then basically the configuration may be different, or you can also go with the default configuration. Okay. Then there is a important directory called home, where which is your default directory, where you will be storing your files, and organizing files is very important. So like the way you do this in Windows, so files and folders organization is very important. All those things that you do will be found in /home, okay. And then there is you want to mount a new device or something on Linux, then basically that will be in the MNT folder, mount folder, okay. There is a folder for root, okay, that is the administrator, and many things, many software, if you want to extensively give rights to the root or the administrator, so they will be installed here, okay. And similarly user oriented software can user bin Perl or user local bin, and like that there could be directories where your software that you are installing may be present, okay. So you also have the option to change these paths later, okay. So basically when you install Linux, on the left hand side there is an option to switch open the terminal. So you can just click on the terminal and it will open like this kind of screen will appear. You can always change colors of this white and black to something else, or make it more colorful. That is also available, okay, for which like there is a bash rc or chsrc file which you can modify, okay. So basically, or you can say right click and open terminal, and basically this kind of terminal you can open. So this is the terminal which will be on which you will be executing the commands, okay. So in this, if you see that this is the host, like the person who was logged in, this tells like what is the current directory, okay, right, where you are currently, okay, which you can also do by pwd, which we will see later, okay. And this symbol, if you see dollar symbol, command prompt, okay, So this is, in front of this you will type anything or the command, okay. And you can see a tab here plus, so you can open one more terminal here, okay. So like in Windows you can open multiple directories, okay, and similarly here you can open multiple terminals. Okay, so Linux commands are very short, right? So for example, you just write vi or rm. So these are just 2-letter word, and very small command which you can remember also. And then for example, there is a command ls for listing, okay. Then this command is small and just 2-letter, and you can also use additional options or modifiers, for example -l, okay. So which will give a listing for the files in a folder. We will see that later, but basically you should note that colors is just for like convenience. Move -r, okay, or ls -i l. So basically these are the additional qualifiers or modifiers that you can use along with the commands, and for which more information is available in the manual or man folder. You can just say man ls. So this will give you all the things that you can do with ls, okay. So all the qualifiers that can be available for the ls command you can get from here, and by default this ls and move can also be used as commands, and basically these are default commands, and then qualifiers and modifiers can be added, okay. Then there are wildcards also here, like if I say like ls star, okay. So that will give me anything and everything that is there in that folder or directory where you are. So star is a wildcard in Linux, which is basically you don't have to specify that, okay. Otherwise the file name could be say ls ask.txt could have been the file, okay, but right, or a1 a2 a3.txt could have been the file. But if I say just ls a star dot txt, so basically it will list me all the files which are there in that folder, okay. So right, so this way you can you don't have to completely specify, okay. Similarly you can use that with question mark also stands for a single character, okay. File 1, file 2, file 3, like that, okay. So if a single character you want to replace, you can use question mark, or if you want to do a like broad search or extraction or retrieval of some information or listing or these kind of activities, you can do the star or wildcard, okay. So for example, if I say ls, it gave me the listing here, okay. 1 2 3 4 5 files are there. But when I say ls star txt, okay, that means any file that has the suffix txt. So basically 2 files qualified here which are shown here, okay. Now if you want to get more details about any command, you can use the manual or man command, which tells you the all the options that you can use to improve or your search or improve the command, right. So if I say man ls, it will open a okay folder like this, or basically here I have done man grep. So basically it is telling me all the options which I can use with the grep command. Grep command we will be doing later, but okay. So these are the different qualifiers or modifiers that you can use. So grep -f, grep -e, okay. So between, if you note, between a command and qualifier you have to give a space. So for example, ls space -l, okay. So there is always a space in between, right. Okay, so some of the important commands in Linux are like ls for listing of files, because you want to see what the files are there in the directory. Copy, you want to copy a file from one place to another, so just say cp a to b, or specify the path where it has to be copied. Move can also be used for renaming something, like move a to b, that means a becomes a file is now renamed as b, or if you specify the location, then a can be moved to that location. So move can do two purpose, which is for renaming as well as moving one thing to another part. We'll be seeing all these commands in detail later, but I'm just giving an overview that okay. So like vi is one of the editor. So basically you can use an editor like Microsoft Word, okay, or WordPad, okay. So similarly, like here there is an editor called vi. For like WordPad or something like Windows, we have gedit and Emacs, etc. But here vi provides you a command line editor where you can modify a file, search a file, change something in a file, right, or even create and those kind of operations at your system and also on remotely on some other system, right. So this allows you to log into some other system and modify those files, okay, using the vi editor, okay. Changing permissions of a file, like for example some file can be read only, some could be even executables, you can provide permission for writing executables and like that, okay. So ch mode, change mode is for that. Making a directory or removing a directory, you can use mkdir or rmdir commands, okay. Changing the directory location or basically going from one directory into another, you can use cd, change the directory cd, okay. rm for removing a file, okay, and man for manual. So like man ls will give you all the options that you can use the ls command, okay. Similarly, like if you want to use the you see the content of a file or basically combine multiple files together, then basically cat could be a command. So cat space a space b will combine the contents of a and b into something else, okay. So we'll be doing in detail later. More for just viewing the contents of a file. So if you say more any file name a, so it will just display the contents of that file on the terminal, okay. Less can also do the same job, but has little more features. For example, you can also go up and down in that file, okay. grep is to extract some information or something from which is matching a particular pattern from a file or from two files, okay. Head will display the contents of a file, only the top 10 lines by default, but you can also specify that how many lines you want to view. Tail can show the contents of the bottom of a file. So for example, you are dealing with a very big file of a chromosome, okay, but you don't want to open the file because opening the file will also require, for example, the chromosome size is say few GB, okay. So basically if you open that file, you have to that RAM and those things will also be used, and it may like make your system in a hung state. So you can just view the content of the file by using say head file name. So it will display the top 10 lines of the file. So you will know that okay, what is the file format like, what contents, what is the header of that file and what it may contain. Similarly, tail can display the last part of the file. This may help you like just to ensure that your file is complete. For example, a FASTA file will have / to at the bottom, or sorry, a GenBank file will have / and FASTA file will be there is a sequence at the end, okay. So you will know that whether it's a complete file or not. So these are some of the ways, right. Or you want to count the contents of a file, that how many words, characters, lines it contain. So wc is the command for that, okay. Sometimes you have like files which are kind of columns or numbers or those kind of things, okay. So you want to sort it, okay, on the basis of alphabet or numerals, or okay, like sorting on the basis of numbers or the characters, okay. So you can use this sort command for that. And like again, if you do man sort, you will know all the possible options with sort that you can play with, okay. Then unique, for example, you want to remove the duplicate lines in a file, so you can make it unique, okay. And removing particular sections in a file, you can use the cut command, okay. So basically these are the like broad summary and list of commands, but we'll be dealing with each of them later in this lecture, okay. So first of all, when you log into a system, open the terminal, okay, you want to see that where you are, okay, which directory you are in. So if you say pwd, present working directory, So it will tell you that what is the path you are in. So you are in this folder right now, okay, and this is important because within this folder you can have multiple folders, and okay, so PWD will tell you what is your present working directory. Now from that directory you want to go to another directory, okay, or another folder directory, okay, like that, they can be used interchangeably, okay. So basically PW will tell you that what is the path. Then if you say like CD, okay, go to, for example, this is the path you want to switch to, right, you can say CD, the complete path name /home beneath genomics, okay, you want to go to one path before, okay, one directory before, then you can say CD space dot dot, you will go one directory before, okay, right. So what will be directory now? It will be CD space dot dot, okay. So Linux is case sensitive, so whatever we will be typing, it will be in lowercase, right. So CD, this may appear like capital, but this is lowercase, okay. So always remember this, CD space dot dot, okay, will give me the outcome will be /home/beneath, okay. So this way you can go back and again you can move to another directory by specifying the path. So this is your path, right, and this is your okay, the folder you are currently in, okay. And basically I told you that /home is the place where all your information or files you will be storing, okay. Now similarly, like you want to go to another path, okay, so you want to go to the default home path, so you can use the CD and the space and tilde sign, okay. So this will take you to default like home beneath your home directory, okay, because when you have logged in as Vineet or the user, so you will be in your home directory, home beneath. If you give login and you create another user in that system, so that user will be given another, here it will be appearing like /home/ that username, okay. So this will be different for different users, okay. Now ls command is very important, like you are in a directory, you know that PWD told you that which directory you are in. Now you want to view the contents of that directory, that what are the files in that directory, okay. So you can say ls and it will tell you the contents of that. So it has 1 2 3 4 contents, of which 3 are files, 1 2 and 3, and this is a directory which is colored differently. So this will, you will know that basically a directory will be always be differently colored than the rest of the files. So ls is for listing, okay, and ls has many options such as ls-l will give you, like if the list was 1 2 3 4 in horizontal, it will give you list in vertical along with other information about the file size, date of modification, etc. Okay, okay, for sorting by when was the file last modified, -t -s, sorting the files which are you are seeing in the directory by size, so okay, smaller and larger ones, okay, reversing the order of the sorting, okay, right, and listing the files in human readable format. So we will be seeing these options, right, and many more options are in man-ls, and you can also combine many of these together like ls minus ltr, okay. So l for listing, t for by date or time, okay, and r is for like reversing the order, right. So I have used 3 of those modifiers together, okay. So this ls page will tell you, man-ls will tell you what are the different options that you can use with the ls command, okay, like ls minus ltr which we just saw. So basically, okay, it is giving me information in a particular manner. So it is telling me the permissions of the file, okay, the owner, right, the date of modification, time of modification, and the file name, right, and basically the contents also, file is one file and content is 2, like that. Okay, so similarly if I would have done ls star, so it would have given me like all the options, because l star is for everything. So either you type ls or ls space star, it will give you same information, because in that folder ls is also listing all the files, and ls space star is also listing all the files. Okay, but if you say ls star txt, so it is listing the files that have the suffix txt. So 2 files could qualify among these 4 files. Now you are in a directory, you want to create another folder for yourself for a like downloading a new data or doing some processing. So you want to create a new directory. Okay, so you can just type make directory and the directory name. Okay, there is hyphen is just for like symbol, but you can write anything here. So like make directory work, all case sensitive, all small possibly. Directory names and file names you can also like, so commands always in smaller case, but this file names, folder names can be in uppercase also. But if I say, if I put that in uppercase like W is capital, so I will not, so basically this W capital, okay, and W lowercase, uppercase and lowercase, so work and work will be 2 different folders. Okay, so you have to, when you are going into that directory or in that folder and doing something with that file, so you have to exactly specify the name. Okay, so make new directory and then you say ls, so it will like the directory that you have made, it is now shown here. Okay, now you want to remove that new directory that you have created here. Okay, so you can say just say remove directory rmdir and the directory name. Similarly, if you want to remove a file, you will say just say rm and space file name. So rm space text2.txt will remove that file, and rmdir space new directory will remove that directory. Okay, then to display the contents of a file, there are various commands like cat, less, head and tail, right? Okay, like if I say cat and that file name text2.txt that we are seeing, okay, so whatever the contents of that file, it is displaying here, right? Similarly, if I do more text2.txt, this will also display the contents here. Okay, now if you want to see only the first few lines of a file, you should always use head, because more and this cat thing will display everything together. Okay, so if it is file is too long, everything will be going in front of you in the screen and you'll not be able to stop. But you can stop by saying Control C, but you know, why to get into that, you'll be okay, be like flooded with all the data in front of you on the terminal. So if you just want to see the top contents or few lines of a file, so just say head and it will display the first 10 lines of that file by default. Okay, if you say head -5 and then this file name, it will display on the first 5 lines. And similarly tail, like first 50 lines, if you want to see head minus and 50, okay, and file name, so basically space is there in between and displays the first whatever number of lines you have specified. Okay, similarly tail will show you the last few lines, and these commands are very good in you know, checking the files, that if you don't know that what is inside the file, so you don't want to open it, but you just want to see the contents on screen, just a few lines. Okay, and copying a file, cp, move and remove. So basically these are the common operation, like you want to make a copy of a file or moving a file or renaming a file. Okay, right, or removing a file from a system. So basically these 3 commands are important here. Okay, like copy, there is a previously existing program called helloworld.perl, so you want to make helloworld2.perl. okay, so this was the existing program. Okay, and this is a new file that you want to existing file, new file, right? So okay, copy this to this, so copy hello world perl to this, so all the contents of this will be copied here. So both the files will exist later. So the previous one, this is also the previous existing file is also there, and the new file that you have just created by make a copy of it is also there now. Okay, now moving a file to another location, like okay, so like you have ls make directory or made a directory, Okay. Now in that directory you want to move the program which you have just made a copy previously, you want to move that into a directory which you have just created. Because for example you have say data from multiple systems or individuals, or okay, so you want to create a folder for each of them, right? So what you will be doing is you will be copying the program and the input file in that folder and doing the processing. So for example here you created a directory called new directory, and the program which you just copied in the previous command, okay, you want to move this program into this directory. So you just say move this into this, okay, then this program will be moved here and it will stop existing in your current path, okay. And when you say it's change cd to new directory, you can see that in that directory that program is now moved. So it has moved the program from a previous location to a new location, right? And similarly, okay, in the previous command there was a directory in which we moved a file, right? So if the source, if the basically the destination is directory, right, is a directory or folder, right, then it will move the content into that. But if the destination which you are saying is just a file name, okay, so it will rename this file into this, okay. So it depends upon the destination. So the move command you are using, so move a to b. If b is a new file, then a will stop existing and it will be converted to b. It is renamed as b now, okay. But if b is a directory, then a will move inside b, okay. So this way basically move can rename something or also move a content from one part to another, okay. Similar, okay. Then removing files because you may create wrong files or junk files or old files. Remove is a very important command, okay. So like in this folder there is a file called this, you want to remove this file, so remove this, and when you say ls, it will, that file is stop existing. So basically that file is removed from your system, okay. Okay, so what will happen here if I say remove space star, okay, so it will remove everything that is there in your system, so basically, or in that directory, so where you are, okay. So you should use the remove command very carefully with the wildcard, okay. So so what we learned in this part 1 of this lecture, we looked at the introduction of Linux, then its importance and usage in bioinformatics, why it is good and why it is becoming popular, and what edge it has in terms of in comparison to Windows or Unix, okay. And then we looked at several basic commands that are very good for the file handling. So if you view this lecture a few times, I'm sure you will be able to run these commands on your system, and basically practice is very important because we often forget the commands. Even if you want to improve your skill, there are several books which are available, like beginners Linux and like that, which are ORLE publications, right? And practice is very important in this to remember these commands, okay. So see you in the next class. Thank you.